Hi everyone, and welcome to today's presentation, an introduction to SADA, who we are and what we do. SADA is an acronym for Survivors Against Domestic Abuse, and we are a domestic abuse service that provides advice, guidance and support to individuals and their families who are experiencing domestic abuse or have previously experienced domestic abuse. Therefore, there will be times when SADA are working with victims who are at immediate risk and perhaps are looking to flee out of the area away from their danger. But there will also be times where SADA are working with victims and survivors who have experienced historical domestic abuse and are looking for some support to process their experiences. At SADA, we look to encourage and empower victims and survivors to make decisions that are right for them, and we respect service users' right to choose. We will complete assessments with all victims and survivors working with SADA and will provide victims with an understanding of what support options are available to them based on their individual needs and circumstances. From there, the victim is able to choose what support they would like to access. We accept referrals from any agency for any victim, regardless of their risk level, their gender or ethnicity. We also accept self-referrals directly from the victims and survivors. We will work with victims who are currently in an abusive relationship, those that are planning to leave an abusive relationship, and those that have already left that relationship. SADA is a client-led service for all victims and survivors of domestic abuse. All referrals must have consent from the service user before being sent over to SADA. What does our referral process look like? Once a service user has consented to a SADA referral, we ask that you complete a referral form and email it over to sada@stevenage.gov.uk. This inbox is managed Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. till 5 p.m. Once the referral is received, the case will be allocated to a SADA support worker who will make contact with the victim on the same day. We understand that for some victims, answering unknown phone numbers can be distressing. If phone contact is initially unsuccessful, support workers will send generic text to the number, asking for a good time to call. We will never mention the phrase domestic abuse or the name SADA during these texts, so as not to put anybody at risk. Further contact attempts with the victim will be made over upcoming days. After 3 unsuccessful contact attempts, we may look to close the case. We will update the referrer throughout. If contact is successful, the support worker will complete a full initial assessment with the victim. During this time, the support worker will gather details regarding the circumstances. This may include, but is not limited to, names and dates of birth for the victim, the alleged perpetrator, and any children. The details surrounding the abuse. Details regarding any tenure of property, including any debts or arrears. Any partnership agencies that might be working with the victim, for example, mental health services, drug or alcohol services, or children's care services. The next step of the initial assessment is to complete a DASH risk assessment with the victim. This allows us to gain a better understanding of the victim's experiences and quantify their risk level. It not only allows support workers to better tailor support plans to individual needs, but it also allows us to be compliant with statutory duties and refer to MARIC if required. After gaining a deep understanding of the client's experiences and current situation as part of that initial assessment, SADA are then able to offer all support options available to that victim, helping them understand what is available to them, what their rights are, and how to access the support that they desire. Once a victim has chosen a support path that they wish to follow, SADA will work with the victim and any partnership agencies to facilitate that support. The final part of the initial assessment is to complete safety planning with the victim. This step involves providing advice and guidance to the victims about how they can keep themselves safe, whether they're still in the relationship or have left that relationship. Safety planning includes advice on the number of different ways victims can report to the police if they wish to do so, advice and guidance on how to stay safe in the home, and how to stay safe in public. Once the initial assessment is complete, SADA will update the referrer and get to work implementing the support that the victim has chosen. In some cases, This may take some time, so SADA will liaise with the victim and the referrer throughout the process to ensure everybody is sufficiently updated. What support do we offer? At SADA, we offer a wide range of support to victims and survivors to meet their individual needs. This can include tailored one-to-one support. Every victim working with SADA is allocated a designated support worker who will stay with them until their support is complete. We'll complete supporting referrals to partnership agencies. This might include referrals to drug and alcohol services, or mental health services, or any other support service that victim might benefit from. We can support with implementing additional security to keep families safe. We can work with local partners and encourage victims to remain in the home safely if that's what they wish. This can include working with local sanctuary schemes, providing personal alarms, and vouchers to Hollyguard Extra. We can support with fleeing to a place of safety. This can include referring victims to refuge provisions outside of their danger areas so that they are able to access safe accommodation. We can provide help with housing and support with homeless applications and accessing the SADA Safe Space provision. A SADA Safe Space is an interim safe accommodation managed by SADA, not the local authority. Our accommodations are based between Hertfordshire and Cambridgeshire and can house single individuals and larger families. Each accommodation comes fully furnished. Victims are able to access the accommodation on a licence agreement and can stay in the property for around 3 months. We currently manage over 35 safe accommodation properties. For any victim and survivor in a SADA safe space, we also manage an out-of-hours service that can be accessed by victims and survivors 24/7, 365 days a year. This allows any of our victims in our safe accommodation to contact a member of staff if they need to, outside our normal office hours. We're also able to provide basic care provision, supporting victims and survivors with food, toiletries, and phone data. As we at SADA understand that deprivation can be a factor within domestic abuse relationships and the impact this can have on our victims, we're able to support victims and survivors accessing local food banks. We're able to provide supermarket vouchers and SIM cards with data packages. We can support with debt and benefit advice and guidance. We're able to support victims and survivors applying for benefits or changing their benefit claims from joint claims to single claims. We can also help victims access universal credit and housing benefit where required. We can also support our victims and survivors looking to access legal provisions. This might be to obtain orders such as a non-molestation order or an occupation order. We will complete referrals to local services, support with applications for legal aid, and provide supporting letters. We also run educational courses such as You and Me Mum and our care course. We run these courses online throughout the year to help our victims and survivors process their experiences and learn from them. These courses help our victims and survivors to feel empowered and help to reduce the likeliness that a victim will enter into another abusive relationship in the future. To put all of the support that SADA can offer into context, I'd like to share a case study with you. This case study reflects the work of the SADA service and the hard work of all our support workers. A referral was received for a client in Wales. The client had been in an extremely abusive and controlling relationship for many years and had never told anyone. She disclosed that her partner had been beating her and her son for years. The client was offered a SADA safe accommodation the same day and began the journey from Wales. The client arrived late in the evening, and a member of staff stayed late to get her settled in. She was understandably terrified and exhausted upon arrival. She was provided with her own room, with fresh bedding, toiletries, and a food parcel, and she was shown around the safe accommodation. She was provided with a new phone and a new SIM card. A children's care services referral and a health visitor referral were completed in order to get the child some support. Referrals to Mind and SADA support groups were made for the client. A legal referral was made to our partner legal services and a non-molestation order was granted. SADA also supported with local school applications and GP applications for the family. During her stay in the safe accommodation, Client was able to source her own private rented property, which SADA helped to furnish. The family are now thriving. Client fed back to SADA, "Thank you for absolutely everything. I've been very lucky to have been supported by SADA. Without the team, I'm not sure how things would have turned out, so from the bottom of my heart, thank you." Everyone has the right to live safely and free from abuse. And at SADA, we work hard to support victims and survivors so they can do just that. SADA is a Monday to Friday service, 9 a.m. till 5 p.m. We are available over the phone or via email for any questions, concerns, or referrals you may have. When we work together, we can better respond to domestic abuse and ensure that victims and survivors receive the best possible support to live free from abuse.